And on that, it's worth mentioning Garry Cook as well. Because Tom Wagner said without Garry Cook, he would not have bought Birmingham City. And we all know that Garry Cook is a lot of fans are still mentioning, and rightly so, really. It was a mistake appointing Rooney. Yeah. Plymouth have found that out to their peril, despite warnings. But Garry Cook, I think we have to thank him. I think we have to thank him for his hard work and what he's done for Birmingham City. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, this podcast, we're going to do one of our unscripted videos, which we do occasionally, where it doesn't really sort of fit into any particular game or category. It's just an overview of what we are thinking as fans about the club, just generally, and really just have a sort of a to and fro conversation. So, Matt, it's an interesting time of the season, is it? At the time of recording, we are still top of the league. We've just come off the back of a draw against Wrexham, and things are looking all right, aren't they?
They are, and we've got another big game tonight, because this goes out on the Tuesday. So we're playing away at Huddersfield Town tonight, Dad, and another big game. I'm going to head up there early afternoon. Managed to get tickets for it, so I'm excited, and I think this season's great. Yeah. I'm just enjoying the ride. We're in League One. And I know I say this on a couple of podcasts, but we're enjoying new stadiums. We're enjoying winning. And I know we all get frustrated at times with the style of football that we play, as in elements to the game, with Blues. I know some fans would like us to go at teams a little bit more. Some fans would like us to create more chances from open play. But overall, I'm just loving it. What a season. I must admit, fingers crossed, I am looking forward to hopefully getting back to the Championship. I cannot stand the refereeing at this level.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
There's some gripes I have with the League One level. I'm looking forward to not playing as many teams that play the low block, and we can actually have a bit more of an expansive game against us. But
I think that will make our own play more attractive then. I think that almost, I do see obviously fans commenting when we sort of have frustrating games, and that's going to happen. Teams are going to frustrate us. But the way we're playing is often dictated by their block, and that stifles what we want to do as well. So I do agree with you. I think that if we play teams that are basically not worried about us and more and more expansive, I think that's going to make our own football a lot more attractive as well.
I couldn't agree more, Dad. And Chris Davies says at St.Andrews we need to give the fans something to cheer about. But how can you get rallied up and cheered about when they're just playing the low block? It's just us.
Give us free beer.
But my point is, fans have been saying this season about the atmosphere at St.Andrews has been a bit flat. And I do agree. It has been flat at times. But how excited and revved up can you possibly get when you have teams coming to St. Andrews and just putting 11 men behind the ball? Yeah. The refereeing's rubbish, and it's just like, it doesn't inspire a good atmosphere or confidence, does it, in terms of, wanting to rally? So I think, I am looking forward to, again, fingers crossed, going back into the Championship. I think the trajectory we're on is set for that. I do still think we will win the league. I think we're more than good enough to do that. I think we will hit a few speed bumps. There will be results where the 90-minute goes and the referee blows a whistle and we go, oh, that's happened again. Chris Davies said it in his, was it the pre-Wrexham or the post-Wrexham? He said we will have frustrations this season, this season and over. But for me, Dad, we have a couple of cup games coming up. We have Newcastle in the FA Cup. We have Stevenage in the Vertu Cup. But for me, again, and I've referenced this a lot, my priority is the league. Yeah, Let's get ourselves back to the Championship.
I think, you know what, Matt, I think all Blues fans would agree with that. The league is the priority. The cup games are good. We've got a great draw against Newcastle in the FA Cup, and obviously we are in the quarterfinals now of the Virtue Trophy. And of course, we want to win everything. But clearly, the league is everything, isn't it? Because we want to be playing the Championship next season. And I think Blues fans will settle for, promotion above everything. But it is nice to have those. I do like the cup games for the distraction.
I like them.
The pressure in the league is full on, isn't it? It's about winning games, about accumulating points. But the cup games give a bit of a difference, don't they, in terms of the way we approach them as well.
Don't get me wrong, Dad. I'm looking forward to Newcastle at home. Me and you have decided, haven't we, we're going to go have a couple of beers before. Yep. It's the game under the lights. It's a Premier League team. Apparently, they've got the whole of the lower Gilmerick. Yeah. It's going to be a great night. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be a bit of a spectacle, isn't it? But I'm just saying my priority here for this season is just getting us back into the Championship. No. And again, would I love a day out at Wembley? Of course I would, in the Virtue Cup. I don't care whether it's the second tier and below cup. It really doesn't bother me. I'd love to have a day out at Wembley. But again, priority, Championship football next season, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, it's we have to give credit as well to our... I would say defence, but it's the whole team because of the way we've turned things round in terms of at the beginning of the season, we were a bit shaky, conceding silly goals. In the last 11 games now, we've conceded 3 goals only in the league. That's home and away. In fact, they're all away goals. The last home goal was
Northampton. That is incredible, isn't it?
9th of November that was.
That is incredible.
So you've got to give you credit because by having such a good defence, it allows you to have narrow victories. And of course, we know as Blues fans that we don't want narrow victories. We want wider victories, but it just means that because of our defence and because of the way that we can transition when teams are having a go at us, if they do, it just gives us that ability to win games, and we're doing it. I think we have to give credit to the way Chris Davies reacted to the Shrewsbury defeat.
Exeter away.
Yes, changing things around, bringing Ben Davies. It's no coincidence that the defence has improved since Ben Davies has been there, alongside Clara, who's been brilliant anyway. And I just think that's worth a mention, isn't it? We've got to give them a bit of credit as well.
I think Ben Davies gets a lot of credit, Dad. Again, it's a team game. Everyone has put their fair share into this season. I think you can't knock the Blues players for effort this year. I think at every game they've gone out, even the Shrewsbury game, even the Northampton game, the Charlton game, we have left everything on the pitch. We've just been outplayed on those games, and that's fine. That's football. We are going to lose some games this season. We said that, remember, in the summer, Dad, we said, even though we're a League One team and we're spending all this money, we will lose games this season.
Yes, we will.
It's football. It's just the way it happens.
Of course we will.
But I agree, Dad. I think since Exeter, since he put Bielek in that game at right back, he put Ben Davies at left side of centre back. And again, I know we've shifted between Bielek and Laird since then. I still think that Ben Davies and Clara partnership. And we said it quite early on, Dad, it was before the Shrewsbury defeat. We said we feel a lot more balanced and settled when Ben Davies is the left side of centre-back and Clara's the right side of centre-back.
Thank us later.
I did get on the phone to Chris Davies, and I'm glad he took it on board.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, Clara's been outstanding. Ben Davies has been outstanding. Cochrane's been outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think the right back has been great. I think Laird in his good games has been outstanding. Look at Wigan away, absolutely incredible. He has had hit and miss moments, so has Bielek, but all the defenders and the whole team, but the defence especially, deserve a lot of credit this season.
Yeah, where we are in the league now, based about how many games we've played, it's no fluke that we've got the best defence in the league, and that's because of the changes that Chris Davies made. Don't forget Allsop as well.
Allsop. I love Allsop.
Allsop has been outstanding since he came in as well. He's saved us a lot of goals, actually, when teams do get through.
When you look back, and again, this is no disrespect to Bailey Peacock, absolutely not, but you got to question, how did it take him so long to even get in the first team? Because Allsop is in my leagues above. I think he's a great goalkeeper.
Well, he obviously was learning about the players because all the players that came in. Another thing as well, that's worth mentioning is that I'm happy about the Wrexham game being out the way. Not because I'm bothered about playing Wrexham. I just don't like all of the hype that goes around that game. I know that the owners would say, "Oh, it's really important for the club. They're getting profile," and I get fine. But we're football fans. All we care about is the football. And when that fixture is done and dusted, we've played Wrexham twice now. Thankfully, all that hype has gone. So I just wanted that out of the way, and it just allows us now to move on to the rest of our fixtures and not have to be concerned about all of that.
Just to bring it back to the Wrexham game for a minute, Dad. I mean, what an owner we have, Tom Wagner, mixing it up with the fans. When we scored, he turned around. Did you see him? He went, like I saw the pictures of him in the stands. Gave a lovely piece to camera before the game. Real classy bloke. I think he gets the club. He gets us as a fan base. On that note, though, we are going to see more American things come in at Blues. It's a fact. We are going to see the occasional price hike. We are going to see, things that American business owners do to businesses when they buy them. I think we'd be naive to think that doesn't come with the territory. Yeah. However, Wagner, I love the bloke. I mean, what a transformation he's made at this club this season.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really say much, can you? I mean, words can't really just be so. With the way we were before he actually. Or Knighthead, spearheaded by him, took us over, was absolutely staggering. And on that, it's worth mentioning Garry Cook as well, because Tom Wagner said without Garry Cook he would not have bought Birmingham City, and we all know that Garry Cook is. A lot of fans are still mentioning, and rightly so. Really, it was a mistake appointing Rooney.
Yeah.
Plymouth have found that out to their peril, despite warnings. Yeah. But Garry Cook, I think we have to thank him. I think we have to thank him for his hard work and what he's done for Birmingham City. And if you ever watch this, Gary, we really, really thank you for all of your efforts with the club. And the fact that if he hadn't been there, Tom Wagner wouldn't have bought Birmingham City.
Yeah.
And I think that alone is enough for us to really, really thank him. Yeah, we can point the finger at him about Rooney. We all had a bad time there. We know it was a mistake. I think Garry Cook, in hindsight, would know that was a big boo-boo. But ultimately, look at what he's done over his time at the Blues and all the work he's done behind the scenes. We wish him well on this podcast, and we, whatever you do in the future, Gary, we hope it's successful. And we know that he's still connected to the club. He's still a part of the Birmingham Foundation and
agreed,
and other things as well. So So I just thought it'd be worth mentioning him as well.
Yeah, nice sentiment, Dad. And Craig Gardner as well had a massive dealing.
I think
No, he hasn't gone. But the fact you mentioned
that's news to me.
because you mentioned Wagner wouldn't have bought the club without Garry Cook. I'm just saying Craig Gardner had a big impact of Wagner and Knight had taken over as well. Sorry, I probably should have put the context first. But big thank you to Craig Gardner as well. But yeah, ultimately Garry Cook has left. Then he said about personal reasons. So again, I'm sure he doesn't watch this, but if he does, I hope whatever's happening in his life is okay. And he manages to get through that particular moment. But yeah, completely agree, Dad. And I say this completely tongue-in-cheek, and it is a joke. It was a joke on X as well. But a few Blues fans have said, actually, Garry Cook and Tom Wagner have been playing 4D chess. We were going down deliberately to spend all this money, get the winning mentality back, and come back as a stronger championship team. And again, it's just a joke. But actually, the sentiment behind that is true, and I don't disagree with it to some extent. Getting relegated wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened to this club. No. It's allowed us to reset.
Yeah, properly.
We wouldn't have been able to spend the money we've spent in Championship because of the restrictions financially. So there are definitely elements to getting relegated that hasn't been that bad. And for me, I just love winning most weeks. It's been great.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so many years. I mean, I think we lost the most games in the last 10 years of all EFL clubs. If you do a table of wins, draws and losses, Birmingham City has over the last 10 years had the most defeats.
Yeah. And we know.
So basically, we're used to watching games where we lose. So this is really weird, winning loads of games.
We've lived through it. It's been awful.
I know.
There's nothing worse for me. I mean, going to St.Andrews and losing is a bad feeling. But how many away games have we been on the coach and come home and gone, that was just awful.
There's nothing worse than a return trip from an away ground after you've lost.
Especially when the football's rubbish.
Yeah.
Nothing worse. But thankfully, I'm loving this season. I'm loving everything, as you said, Knighthead have done. Thank you to Garry Cook as well for his contribution to all the changes. And loving it. Absolutely loving it.
I also think as well, from the playing side, I think there's so much more to come from Birmingham City, because I've not really watched a game this season, a whole game, where I think we've really hit the heights here. I think we've done it in phases in games. I can think of Rotherham away, another the Wrexham game where we did pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much more to come from this team, and the potential we've got now with the players we've got is actually quite frightening.
But again, Dad, we've mentioned this on many podcasts. We even mentioned it in the Huddersfield pre-match that went out yesterday. It doesn't help when teams just put 11 men behind the ball. You can't trounce teams that way. But, it's a little bit disheartening for me, because I thought, to be fair, teams are starting to show us a little bit less respect. And I quite like that, because it allows the game to flow a bit more. It opens up pockets. But you're not going to trounce teams 3-4, 5-0 when they're putting 11 men behind the ball. Because we've seen it, Dad. Teams have came to St.Andrews. We've just scraped by 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. And then they're involved in a 4-4 next week. So they've completely changed their style from how they're playing Blues.
They do.
So the point is that I completely agree. We're in gear 1 or 2 or 3. We've got many to crank up. But I think, in my opinion, we're only going to crank it up when we play teams who aren't just parking the bus and doing the low block, because it is a nightmare. It's so uninspiring.
It is, and teams do change their tactics against us. And in fact, most teams see us as a free hit. They expect that they're not going to get anything, and if they do, it's a bonus. I can think of loads of games. St.Andrews is the worst, isn't it? They just come Burton was time wasting after 5 minutes. In that game, and other teams have done the same as well. Charlton away.
That staggers me, Dad.
That was terrible in terms of the way the time wasting was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, what staggers me is teams time wasting 1 or 2-0 down. It's almost like they're saying, "Oh God, let's just get out of here."
Yeah, if we get a 1-0 defeat, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's not really a mentality.
And time wasting after 2 or 3 minutes we've seen. And as I said, we're not going to go into it. Let's not give it any more airtime. But the refereeing is shocking at this level. Sorry. And there's a few things definitely. Again, fingers crossed for promotion. I can't wait to get those things back in at a higher level.
Yeah,
that just improve.
Let's get ourselves over the line first.
You get bigger allocations away. You get better effort. Of course, by the way, I'm just saying on the trajectory we're on, it's looking good. And there's a few things I can't wait to have back.
Well, to be fair, the referee in the Championship isn't perfect.
No, it's not.
But this is a different level. The referee is awful.
I thought the Championship was poor, and then we went to League One.
Yeah.
And I realised what poor was.
Yeah. Another thing as well, Matt, and the January transfer window, it's at the time of recording, we're probably about a week away from it closing.
It's been quiet, hasn't it?
Well, it's been quite blue. We've done okay. We brought in Grant Hanley as a backup, I would say, as a centre half, because Dean Sanderson went to Blackburn. But also, also as well, fantastic summer signing that we're going to have for pre-contract agreement with Phil Neumann.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen that video, go and have a look at it. We did a video about a week ago. Profiled both Grant Hanley and Phil Neumann as one video. So if you want to know a bit more about them, go and watch that video. But I think that's a great start. I mean, do you think there'll be any more coming?
I think they will. I think Chris Davis has alluded to it. He hasn't said exactly we're going to get X amount, but I think he's alluded to more transfers coming in. And for me personally, again, I'd love to hear Blues fans' thoughts in the comments about areas we could possibly improve on. I think that's a really good conversation to have because we do have a strong squad, but there are areas for me which we'd like to improve. Do you want me to quickly go through them now?
Yeah.
I think left back, not to replace Cochrane, but
I think that's where I've heard Chris Davis say we need some cover. So I think that will happen.
And I think with Buchanan having that injury, and I hope he's recovering well, by the way, because it did look nasty, that's kind of put a spanner in the works for the cover on the left side of the pitch.
I also think as well, selling Josh Williams, the young lad, to Carlisle has opened up that space in the squad as well for another left back. So I think we'll see another left back. Yeah. So I agree.
And Brendan Kaler's on loan at Bradford now, isn't he, as well? So that's another left back.
And also for Cochrane as well. I mean, he plays so many. He missed a few games after the Barnsley game because he got injured, but he was back within a couple of games. That lad needs a break.
Samstead can play there, but a lot of Blues fans have said it'd be nice to get a proper left back in for cover, and I agree with that. Yeah. I'd like to see a number 10 come in, if it's possible. I guess I'm cherry picking here because we do have Williamson, who's fantastic, but he's proven that he can be a little bit injury prone from time to time. Yeah. And also as well, he can be a little bit ineffective during moments. So it'd be good to have a little bit of extra number 10 firepower. And I've mentioned before that the style of number 10 I'd like is someone like the Nottingham Forest guy, Gibbs. What's his name?
Oh, Morgan Gibbs.
Morgan
Gibbs White.
Morgan Gibbs White. Yeah. Again, I know I'm not going to get Morgan Gibbs White. I'm saying a type of player, arrogant.
You're right. I mean, he ain't going to come and sit on our bench.
Arrogant, cocky, just I love players like that. A bit like Asgard or Wigan, those kind of number 10s. And again, cherry picking here, I'd love a winger. But for me,
left or right?
Left back, 10, winger left.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Hansen's injured. And you would argue that he probably hasn't had the impact even when he's been playing that he'd want. Not saying he's not a decent player, but I think we could, and obviously there have been names muted. Nathan Redmond keeps getting bounced around. Speculation, of course.
Wouldn't say no, but a lot of Blues fans have said, do we really want to bring in old players? I don't know, but
you know what? If they're good enough, of course we do.
Would you have him?
Yeah. But he hasn't had a great deal of football because of injury. So if the club feel that through his medical he's fit and raring to go, I'd definitely take him.
Okay, fair.
But who knows? Just on the current loan players, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think we'll see any strides to make any of them permanent in the January window. I think we'll probably wait to the summer. But in my opinion, and maybe Blues fans, I'll get Matt's opinion in a second. We'll maybe agree or disagree. I think we should sign Taylor Gardner-Hickman.
100%.
Definitely Ben Davies.
100%.
For me, they'd be the two that I'd be after. I think the likes of Alphonse Samstead and Luke Harris are players that if they want to sign are going to have a fantastic rest of the season because they've not quite been at the level of those other two. But what's your thoughts?
Completely agree with Taylor Gardner-Hickman. He would be my top priority out of everyone because of his age, his tenacity, his ability to play absolutely everywhere. Who's the Leeds player, Dad, who he was compared to, who played everywhere in like the 60s and 70s? He played for Leeds. He was a really famous player. But he was renowned for all the different positions he could play.
I could think of loads of Leeds players where Billy Bremner, Norman Hunter.
No, there was one who's renowned for playing every position. Anyway, someone even put him in the comments a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot his name. I'll dig that one out. Was he Leeds? I think he was. Anyway, so Taylor Gardner-Hickman's my number one priority for me. Ben Davies as well. But what do you think, Dad? He's going to be on a high salary from Rangers, Ben Davies, and he's 31. So do you think, in terms of aspirations for the club, are they going to want to go younger? We've got Neumann coming in at centre half. Yeah, by the way, I want to sign him. I'm just thinking if you're the club, you're moving back into the Championship, high salary, 31.
But look what he's doing now. You could argue that I reckon he's got at least two more top level performance seasons in him. I would sign him. I think if you look just at their age, because you do need a bit of experience in there as well, don't you? I would sign. Yeah, he's 31, but so is Alfie May.
Yeah,
so
true.
What do you do? I would definitely sign. Ben
I think more than his age, Dad, it's the salary. I think he's on a lot of money at Rangers. But anyway, we're never going to know that because it's behind the scenes and they can negotiate that. But I agree, Dad. And it was Samstead, and who else is on loan?
Luke Harris.
Luke Harris. I'm just going to be brutally honest. Not a fan. I don't think we should sign him. And I think Samstead's a good player. He's shown glimpses. I don't think he's at the level of the other defenders.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think we both agree out of the 4 loan players, it's going to be Taylor Gardner-Hitman and Ben Davies that we want to sign.
And for me, Taylor Gardner-Hitman is significantly higher than all 3 of them to sign, in my opinion.
I'm pretty close between
Fair enough.
TGH and Davies. I think they should be both signed. One final point. Obviously, we've got the FA Cup coming up against Newcastle. All looking forward to that.
I am looking forward to
it. And, it should be a bouncing atmosphere. Yeah, the atmosphere there is going to be rocking.
It's going to be good.
And, we're in that strange position where we are not expected to win.
And that's why the atmosphere will be good.
Yeah.
Newcastle aren't going to play the low block. They're not going to be boring. They're not going to put 11 men behind the ball. We're expected to lose this game. I guarantee you St. Andrews is rocking.
Yeah, and the Newcastle fans will be brilliant as well.
Yeah,
They've got a
they
great reputation as well. And, of course, the EFL Trophy quarter-final against Stevenage away.
Next Tuesday, isn't it? A week today when it goes out.
4th of February. And, that's obviously... if we win that, then there's it's a 2-legger, the semi-final, isn't it? 2 games away from Wembley.
And we've not played Stevenage yet because their game got cancelled.
We're going to get to know them.
I think we're playing them 3 times in 2 or 3 weeks, aren't we?
Yeah, because our league game was postponed because of the international break, because they've been scheduled quite close together.
They have.
But overall, it'd be great to hear your thoughts, Blues fans. Things at the moment are, ticking along quite nicely. And there's always loads going on at Birmingham City, isn't there? If you've got any comments about the type of things that me and Matt have spoken about, then please leave them below. Always happy to get your comments. And we do really very much see this podcast as a Birmingham City community podcast for the fans. And this is the opportunity to leave your thoughts and comments below. So please do that. As always, if you like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you also like to watch your or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll find us there as well now. And you'll see the handles for all of these appearing on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already and you'd like to do that, then please press that red subscribe button. If you don't want to subscribe and you watch the videos, that's absolutely fine. If you want notifications, then hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get a little message pop up every time we put a new podcast out. So that's it for this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.